Hey, what is up, you guys? DHR2, welcome back to my channel. So, we're going to be doing something different besides reactions. So, there has been this pretty thing everybody's doing on on the internet nowadays. So, basically, they're just ranking their favorite and bad Power Rangers seasons from good to bad to mad to trash and awesome. So, I thought to myself, why don't I just do something that they're doing, but I'm going to be doing my take on it instead of just doing it on the internet and live, because I don't know how to do like everybody else is doing. So as you guys know, I'm going to be ranking most of the Power Rangers seasons from good to bad and mostly trash. So for starters, if you're new, if you're just tuning in, thank you for subscribing to my channel. Be sure to follow me on social media and click the bell, be a part of the DH Army. So we're just getting started. So with that being said, let's get started on the Power Rangers seasons that I like and I absolutely despise. So kicking things off with the bang, we're going to start with Awesome. This season saved Power Rangers because it was the saving grace from Power Rangers Turbo, and Andros became everyone's favorite Red Ranger because he had one of the best story arcs after looking for and searching for astronomer, excuse me. The Turbo Rangers were left with no other options but to go in space, look for a new power, but they ran into Andros, who was an alien who was from KO-35. And then the season took off very well, and the reason why I'm putting in space on Awesome, because like I said, it was the season that saved Power Rangers, and Turbo almost killed the franchise based on how bad the quality of the writing is. So in space is definitely going up to Awesome. This next series that I would definitely love because of how good the season was. And fun fact, I did not know that this season almost had an Academy Award. Well, not that, but was nominated for of how good the story was and how well the characters was written. Two Rangers that made this season better than Tommy and Kimberly's, because these two actually had meanings. They did not break up after 3 seasons and go date some other dude with the Dear John letter. And the season had one of the best 6 Rangers because he wanted to be the leader of the Silver Guardians. And that season I'm putting on this awesome list is Time Force. The third season that has really caught my attention even back then of how good the season was different from other Ranger seasons. And this is based on the Disney series, Disney era season. It's kind of like the Terminator slash, well, I don't know, it should be a Matrix or something like that, but this season is they went all out Terminator based, but with the Power Rangers style. And the fight scenes were so good. The only issue I have with it is the shaky camera when it comes to the fights. Couldn't see the Rangers making a traditional martial arts moves, but at least the actors got the job done. And Dylan was the main focus of the season, because just like in space, Andros and Astronomer, Dylan and I forgot his sister's name. If somebody can let me know in the comments below what was Dylan's sister's name in RPM that was a villain and was turned back to normal during I think the second half of the season, including the finale. And Scott is one of my favorite Red Rangers from that season. Matter of fact, all of them are my favorite Rangers except for Gemma and Gemma. I do not like those two. And that season I'm talking about is RPM. By the way, RPM was a good season because of the story. So you have In Space, Time Force, and RPM based on how good the writing is and the storytelling it has told. And the fight scenes are great. Another season that it was interesting, that caught my attentions back in 2005 based on how good the story was told and the characters was well written. The future was 2025 and the Space Patrol Delta Rangers were chosen based on their civilian powers. Jack was... Crap, don't do this to me now. No. I'm gonna make sure that it does not begin. Yes. Okay. Sorry about that. Jack was feeding... Well, I think Jack was giving clothes to the homeless, and C was basically helping them out, of course, until they get ran over by Scott, Bridge, and Sid. Had a good civilian fights until they all became Rangers of Space Patrol Delta, and they had this commander named of Doggy Kruger, who his comrades was killed in a battle, and his wife was kidnapped by Grum. So in the season finale, in the two-parter, he rescued his wife and he beat Grum by chopping off part of his horns, I think. And in that season I'm talking about is SPD. So you have 4 seasons that were great, as In Space, Time Force, RPM, and SPD. So on to the good seasons. Back in 2003, when when Power Rangers wanted to take it to the next level when it comes to the acting, I did not know that these actors were known for playing in Suitland Street for years before making it into Power Rangers that we all know and love them today. Shane is my favorite Ranger. Rest in peace, Paul Makasiva. If y'all don't know, Paul Makasiva recently passed away a few months ago. They said it was attempted suicide, but we don't know for sure. But all know is that he left a great legacy in the Power Rangers fandom, and he and everybody are my favorite Rangers. So Lil Thor was not the best villain. Was not the best villain, but he was he's one of the baddest fighters of that season. He can fight like no other, and he was played by the same actor who played Sensei, who was turned into a guinea pig. And their Zords, I like their Zords. Most of them were meh, and most of them were good. That season I'm talking about is Ninja Storm. I had to put the S. I mean, I had to put the R and the M next to the N and the S because it's Ninja Storm, not Ninja Steel. Which I'm gonna get to that by the end of the video. So, Ninja Storm is a good season. Alongside Ninja Storm became the follow-up. Tommy Oliver returned for a season because he accidentally built the Tyranitrons. And he chose Connor, Kira, and Ethan to become the 3 brand new Dino Rangers without spoiling it. Hey Brandon, welcome to my ranking list. So getting back to what I was saying, Tommy Oliver returned, aka Dr. O, who was my favorite character, who felt like a leader than a mentor. Then you had this villain named Mascot, who was one of the best villains in the Disney era, and he looked scary and intimidating too for a 2004 season. And Trent had the best story arc for a Sixth Ranger, but I kind of felt like Dr. O had the best story arc for a Sixth Ranger because he felt more like a leader than a mentor. And I'm not a fan of the Zords because I just think they look kind of basic in my opinion though. But still, the season was very good. So Dino Thunder is next to Ninja Storm. Jungle. Oh, I almost spoiled. Spoiled it for y'all. I'm sorry. This season was a huge step up, but it did have its issues. Sorry about that, guys. Once again, this season had its ups and downs when it comes to the. Well, it was a sequel next to a season that only had 3 seasons, and then the following season kind of sucked and ruined it for me, for everybody. So I do love the Gold Ranger's costume because he had that bling on his wrist, on his boots, and that shield of his looked so good. And I love this helmet design. And I think all of the Zeo Ranger costumes are based off the Egypt theme, but their Sentai counterpart, O Ranger, was a military base. But their Zords had their Egypt stuff in it. And Jason returned as the Gold Ranger after the mystery of the Gold Ranger. Everybody was wondering who it was, from Billy to whoever. Kind of found out it was Troya Trefoya, the triplets actor. Then once, like I said, Jason became the Gold Ranger when he returned. So the season I'm talking about, that was good, but it has ups and downs. Power Rangers Zeo. Crap. Sorry guys, I'm trying to. I feel like I'm messing up. I think this might come to a shock to you guys, but I know some of you all don't like the season. It had a good story follow-up from, well, the sequel to In Space. And the Man the Defender was one of my favorite Ranger allies in the show, because he had a tragic backstory because his son was killed by scorpions in them. And his heart was so full of rage and anger and revenge. He wanted to do it for his son, but it was making it more bad for him. They had a good team up to the 10th Power. I remember watching this episode way back in 1989. And it was on weekdays, by the way. I came home from school and I've seen it at the time. Then they killed off Kendra's character, but her actress was diagnosed with cancer at the time, and she beat it thankfully when she returned, and they all came back for another season, but that team up special sucked. So besides that, I kind of like Lost Galaxy, but it has its boring moments. But if you can somehow ignore those and focus on the story and which Ranger is your favorite, then you're fine. But I'm not fine with the costumes at all. The Charlie Brown costumes, I'm not a fan of that. So Lost Galaxy goes into good. And the last but not least, a very good season in my opinion. It was early 2000 when they started doing a new show. The helmets kind of threw me off at first because I didn't really understand them. They had a good story with their own original American Ranger known as the Titanium Ranger. His story was dark because I remember watching this clip of Diabolico wanting the father to sacrifice his son to save him, which led to Ryan believing that his father wanted him to fall and he never cared to rescue him, to save him. And he claims that he wanted to let him fall, but really it was Diabolico who had his mind twisted up, thinking that the Rangers was his enemies, including his father and his sister. And the fight scenes he had with Dana was good. That right there is how you do a show and a season that tells story. If the season is good, that is told right, I think fans are going to give Lightspeed Rescue a break, which is why I'm putting it up there. So for the good seasons, you have Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder, Power Ranger Zeo, Lost Galaxy, and Lightspeed Rescue. Now let's get to the Met part. This might be a controversial part that I'm going to do on my channel, on this video. But the reason why I am putting this season that started the franchise is because it was not that great from the start. Especially from season 1 and 2. Or 3 altogether. But at the same time, you have characters that were lovable by the fans of the original show 26 years later. And back in 1993, nobody knew that this show was going to be an overnight success. Nobody knew that the show was going to take off and skyrocket to kids all over the world. The fight scenes of that season was so good because they had real actors who knew martial arts, gymnastics, and they were dancers. besides just acting. You don't see none of that nowadays. The Zords, I love the Zords because they're classic. They're the most memorable Zords. I can't even say it, but memorable. Forget it. You guys don't want to go with this, right? So, I think to me, this season may have started the franchise, but it wasn't the best. Matter of fact, all 3 seasons weren't that great. It had its great moments, it had its dark moments, and it has its funny moments, it had its sad moments, but that doesn't mean the season wasn't that good from the start. It has so many issues and so many problems, and the characters felt, 3-dimensional. And season 1 was sometimes hard to watch based on them doing good, being goody goods and, doing environment stuff, teamwork, this and that, I mean, like Lee Carr said, as long as you ignore those things and focus on the action and the story, that season with 3 seasons didn't really have a story and didn't really make any sense, but it did have its moments for development for characters, for all Rangers, including Bulk and Skull, Ernie, Zordon, Alpha, and them. But the villains from the season, they're classic. They were evil like they're supposed to be. So y'all are not gonna like what I have to do, but I'm gonna put Mighty Morphin from season 1 to 3 as meh. So it did have its moments, but it wasn't that great. Sorry. Hope y'all understand. Mystic Force. Sorry. You know what? I'm not gonna say what the season is. I'm just gonna say Mystic Force was mediocre because the season felt more on the villains rather than the Rangers themselves. Korak was one of my favorite villains from that season because he was dark, he was menacing, he looked intimidating, he was evil, and that purple armor looked so sweet on him, and the shield and the sword, and he had his own Megazord form. I mean, that season felt more like a Harry Potter than Power Rangers, in my opinion. I mean, God, man. The more I watch, well, here's the thing. Looking back on the Mystic Force season, it wasn't even that great. I did not like the season at all because, like I said, it felt more Harry Potter-ish than the Ranger season. Yes, this season is based on magic, but they didn't really do anything, And I just think that the season was mediocre. So I'm gonna put Mystic Force as meh. I'm trying to think of other teams than that was meh. Wild Force. Okay, Wild Force, I liked it back in 2002. I have the Zenaku saga on VHS, and I watched it like non-stop way back in 2002 or 3. But that season, looking back at it now, I realize how bad it is because it didn't really feel like a Saban season, but it felt like a Disney season based on the visual effects and the design. did not like the Zoroarks at all because the Zoroarks looked kind of bland in my opinion. But the season did have one thing I like about it was the Zenaku saga and the team ups. Force from the Future, two-parter, and Forever Red. The only thing I did not like about Forever Red was the final scene. I read that one of the Rangers that Jason was supposed to die in Forever Red. That's basically what I heard. But Cole using that Wild Force Rider, aka the Falcon motorcycle on flying mode, flew Serpentarian, aka the giant black dragon from Die Ranger. I did not like that. He just flew in there, and that's how the Beetleborgs die. By the way, Walter Jones actually voiced one of the Beetleborgs, but I just don't know which. So, and Merrick was a good Sixth Ranger. I liked him a lot. As for Cole, his actor is a murderer. I don't know why everybody is defending the murderer. I don't care about his legacy as a Red Ranger. He killed that guy for real. Not only for self-defense, but I personally think that his actor was too into his character from Samurai, playing an evil dark samurai named Decker, which he used a samurai sword to kill a roommate. And that roommate's family actually hates him now. They don't care about that nigga playing the Power Ranger from Wild Force, but he's still a murderer. So, Wild Force is man. I'm sorry. I don't know why I put a decimal point. So, last but not least, we're gonna go to trash part. Yes. No, you know what? last part for the next season was Dino Supercharged season 2. I feel like season 2 of Dino Charge was a mess until the finale just ruined everything. So R.I.P. to the actor who played Xeno Wing, the Sixth Ranger of season 2 of Dino Charge. Unfortunately. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. So I'm gonna put down on Supercharge. Oh, and the good season, Dino Charge season 1, even though it had its problems, but it was still better than the rest of the newest Bond seasons. So now on to the trash seasons. Y'all know when the newest Bond era started, you knew this franchise was gonna suck from the start. Samurai was so bad it copied from Samurai Sentai Shikinsher, which is a better season than Samurai. Go look up Shikinsher and you know what I'm talking about. If Shadow Factory, if Shout Factory ever puts out a Samurai Sentai Shikinsher season, I would love for my man Kaiju do a season review of Shikinsher. It's so good. But Samurai, on the other hand, sucked. Both seasons of Samurai was bad. I hated the season. It was bad from the start. The actors were terrible. The story was a copy paste off of Sentai. It was not really original. I mean, they used some stuff in American, but why would you want to put Jaden Shippa? Shippa is a Japanese name in honor of samurai. Jaden is not Japanese. He's an American. They could have given him an American last name, which is stupid. So, samurai is trash. I'm sorry. As for Super Samurai as well, so I'm gonna put that. Megaforce was a joke. A so-called 20th anniversary that misrepresented the franchise from 20 years. And let me say something here. Megaforce was so bad, I even liked it some episodes of Megaforce. I thought it was good from the start. But then I come to my realization that the show sucked. It was terrible. It felt nothing like the originals. Troy was a fake Jason. His model, well, his actor Andrew Gray is a model, and he is not a martial artist. He's just a model who can't even act. And I feel like the whole season, the whole cast of Megaforce, the way that they were acting on TV felt like they were just reading off the script rather than putting in emotions. That's how bad the season is. And season 2 was just god awful terrible because of the so-called finale, the worst team up of all time, and they use pre-Zoo Ranger teams like Flashman, Mask Man, Bioman, I mean, I seriously hated this season. I hated both seasons. Megaforce is trash all the way. And Turbo was the ultimate killer of the Power Rangers franchise due to a kid named Justin being a child and a ranger. In the movie, he was acting like a kid rather than a ranger. That movie sucked. It's still bad today. It's the worst movie of all time. But the second half of Turbo, his character grew from being a kid to an actual ranger. In the second half of Turbo, he acted more like a Blue Ranger than they did in the movie in the first half of the show. Once the new cast came along, I think that's when the show was getting better bit by bit. You know what I'm saying? So Turbo almost killed the franchise, and that's why it's going into trash. Hit me all you want. Not only Turbo was bad, the 2017 Power Rangers movie was just terrible. So you don't want to get me started on why I put that on the trash list. It was because of politics being put in it that was not needed in the first place. And the movie did not feel like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers at all. They had some good references from Mighty Morphin as well as other seasons as well, but it didn't feel like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers like it's supposed to be. It was supposed to be based on Mighty Morphin, but it fell off hard. So that's why I put the 2017 PR movie on this list. So all you Ninja Steel fans out there, y'all can cry all you want, but the season is just straight up garbage. It really is. Why? Because it did not feel like ninjas. They were just using gadgets just to be used. It was basically called Ninja Steel, but it did not feel like ninjas. You know, I did not see the Rangers use the ninja uniforms like they're supposed to. I did not see the actors doing any civilian fights, just for a little bit, not a lot, which is sad. And I was really looking forward to watching this season up until I realized how bad the story has gotten, and the Red Ranger's actor can't even act worth the $10 million. I mean, this Red Ranger's actor is so bad. I just laugh at him. I just laugh at everybody because the show sucked. It's terrible. It's garbage. The only thing that I liked about that season was the Dimensions in Danger. It's not the best, but it was at least better than the so-called legendary battle. So you can't go wrong with that. But the finale, it is bad. It's not even that great. So both Ninja Steel and Super Ninja Steel is at my bottom list. So I gotta do something about this. So alright, you guys, that is my ranking for my good, the bad, and the trash Power Ranger seasons that I love, that I hate, and I dislike the most. Tell me, what was your favorite Power Ranger season, and what was your least favorite season, and what was your most hated Power Ranger season of the franchise? Let me know in the comments below. Until then, DHR2, much love.